we got to check in on some homework that we assigned each other last week. First,
Right.
Brad, he was supposed to watch the first episode of Slow Horses on Apple TV Plus, and I was charged with watching the first episode of Ted Lasso. Brad, why don't you tell us how your Slow Horses adventure went?
It went really well. So going in, I had no idea what this was about. I didn't read the synopsis, anything like that. All I knew was that Gary Oldman was playing somebody who I didn't recognize at first, that it was even him, right?
Yeah.
Because he looked more like Gary Oldman than Gary Oldman. But another one of my takeaways, this is actually relevant to the topic, to like the rest of the show, because I felt like River Cartwright looks oddly like Jared Kelnick.
Oh,
you see that?
I'm looking now.
I was incredibly distracted by that most of the time, because at the beginning I was like, who does he look like? Because I know it's not him. I've never seen this dude in anything. And then about halfway through the episode, it clicked. But I found myself slowly leaning forward into the TV as I was watching this episode. It's very, very good, very intense.
Yeah, it's
like
intense.
The beginning, it started off really hot, really intense.
Yeah.
So if you
does look a little like Jared Kelnick.
Spy thrillers, go watch Slow Horses.
I do. It's good espionage.
Yeah,
for sure. Good. Slow burn, but there's enough character development to keep it interesting until it starts to pick up the pace, and it's
well, and it's like one of the things I felt like too, as soon as you start to figure out like who people are and what's going on, like they throw something at you, you're like, oh, I was way off.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
the verdict, will you keep watching it? That's the
definitely. Yeah, it's going to be my new lunchtime show.
Yes.
So
good.
Yeah.
Okay, so I watched Ted Lasso.
Finally. Real quick. I've been telling Brig for what, a year that he needs to watch this show.
Yeah, it's been a year.
So, okay, go ahead.
So I watched the first episode, and I thought, well, I didn't know anything about the show either. I didn't look up the premise or anything. Turns out that a UK-based, a London-based football club, a soccer football club, hires a Division II collegiate American football coach to take over management of the team. And I was like, oh, is this just built on this weird language crossover? Is that what's going on? Is there because the person who owns the club, the soccer club, the football club or whatever, is not, well, I don't want to give anything away. Anyway, the point is
your impressions of the show.
My impressions of the show. Here's my biggest takeaway. I did not watch one episode. I watched 3 straight because I could not stop watching it. And at the end, I looked down at my watch with a tremendous amount of chagrin because I had to go to bed instead of watching episode 4. I was very angry. But my anger was consumed, surrounded by, and swallowed up in the prevailing feeling I had, which was namely that I did not want to stop feeling the way that show made me feel. I want to walk around feeling that way all the time. It is terrific. I love it.
So I don't know if you know this, Brig, but one of my favorite commercials ever in the history of TV was put out by NBC Sports. This was several years ago with Jason Sudeikis playing Ted Lasso.
What?
As an American football coach in London at the time, though, for that commercial, because the Premier League was coming to NBC Sports. And so they put together this commercial with Jason Sudeikis as Ted Lasso as an American football coach in London, coaching the Tottenham Hotspur. And that's where this show comes from.
Really?
It's all from like a 5-minute bit that they did.
You're okay. Now I'm gonna have to go watch that.
Yeah, I'll put the link down in the description. If you don't know what it is, go click the link and watch it. If you haven't watched Ted Lasso, go watch Ted Lasso, because this little teaser, that like this little bit, like I was completely sold. We've been quoting that commercial for, I want to say it's like 6 years.
Wow.
My wife and I have been referencing it around the house. It's so funny.
That's so awesome.
Good. So especially if you know nothing about soccer, it's even more relatable.
Oh, well, and that was what's so great about the show is I thought, oh man, we're just going to get a bunch of Americanisms and tropes about this culture clash. And that was part of episode 1, but man, it blossomed into something beautiful after that. Like you had to get those licks in. right? They had
Yes.
to get those in, but then
And
after that, it was so much more.
and they're peppered throughout, but the way that they do it is they do it really, really well. It doesn't get overplayed, nothing
Yeah.
like that. It's like stuff is just like just a real quick speck of it and then it goes away,
Yeah.
But Ted Lasso is a very likable character. I was worried that he was going to be a bumbling idiot in this new world that he's in,
Yeah.
and he is a little bit, but not so much that you get annoyed by him.
Right.
In fact, you're like you said, you've never rooted for a character so fast.
Never. So I was charmed
Exactly.
immediately. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it was
Exactly
great.
right. Yeah, they did a great job with that show, and I love everything about it. I've watched it twice. We'll probably watch it a third time.